Good morning, everybody. I'm a few minutes late getting on here. We had a bit of a rough evening, but everything's worked out now. So are you ready to learn a new stitch? This one's called the Tunisian knit stitch, and I didn't even look for another video of another tutorial or whatever. Y'all are just going to get me doing it today because it's pretty easy, and I figured I'd just go for it. So this is what it's going to look like here. All right, and I'm going to bring you guys around here. And this, I'm just going to teach you the basic stitch really quick, and then that's it. So the Tunisian knit stitch. The Tunisian knit stitch looks like knitting, but the fabric is more dense. Work the stitches loosely or use a bigger hook than recommended for the yarn. You insert the hook front to back between the two vertical bars or between the legs of one stitch and under the return row to pull up a loop. You can start with chaining any stitches, but if you're using your blocks, you're going to want to chain the same number. So I have already worked some of this stitch, and my light's in the wrong spot. That might do. All right. So the first thing I need to do before I can show you the actual stitch is I need to work back off. And like they said, you need to work really loosely. So don't save this stitch for a time when you're very relaxed. You want to work your thread very loosely. So don't draw it up tight at all, or it'll curl really bad. The only problem when you're working real loose is you'll drop a stitch every once in a while, but it's easy to pick it up. But you can see how loose I'm working this. Just relax. It's not a race. You don't have to do these fast. Just work them loose. And this is called your return row when you work the stitches back off. All right, so I've gotten all the way back over to the other side, and of course I dropped the stitch. All right, so you can see how loose I've made it. All right, so I can actually see every stitch really clearly. All right, so where you're going to insert your hook is each stitch has two bars, a front and a back, right? You want to take your hook, insert it between those two legs, and then through between the two stitches. So you're between the legs and out the back. And then you just draw up. That's as easy as it gets. Then you go to the next stitch, go between the two bars and out the back and pick up your stitch. That's the stitch. That's called the Tunisian knit stitch. And you have to work it loose. All right, so between the two legs and then out between the stitches, like so. So it's just a matter of inserting your hook in the right place. If you get it too tight, it's hard to see these legs and then out the back. And remember, keep it loose on your hooks because those are the legs. You're making your legs right now. So between the legs and then out between the back, the back of the 2 stitches. And that's it. That's the stitch, you guys. The key is to work real loose. Or like they said, step up a hook size if you can't work looser. I think the important thing with any type of needle art is you need to work it like it's meant to be meditative so that and it's relaxing. You're not here to meet production. You're not here to win a race. You're here to learn a stitch. So take your time. And you'll know if you didn't get it between the legs. It'll look funny. It's important to get between the legs and then between the stitches. And I'm going to stop when I get to the end of the row because you guys already, from doing this along with me, know how to do the return rows. And as always, when I get to the end, I verify that I have the correct number of stitches. And when you get to the very end, you do that side stitch. This one's a little tricky when you get to the end to get between the stitch, the legs, and then that last side stitch. And then you have to do, let me count my stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now see, I didn't do that right. That should be, okay, so that was the last stitch there. That's why I do that. I count my stitches and then find the little 2 legs here and just go on the edge and draw up your last stitch. So now I should have 20. All right, and that's what it looks like. It looks like knitting, but like they said, it looks like knitting, but it works up more dense. You do have to work loose. Work loose. And remember, it's not a race, okay? So I hope that was helpful. Good morning, Teresa. And I'm going to go have my first cup of coffee and leave you guys to try this. Red does not photograph well. It doesn't show up very well, does it? Let's do this so you can see the knitting. It looks like knitting is what I'm saying. That shows it a little better. But it does look just like knitting. That's pretty cool. All right, so that was the stitch. And I'm going to go have my coffee. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And I will see you next Friday for the full stitch. That'll be interesting. They call it a full stitch. This one's Tunisian knit stitch. Thanks for being here. Bye, guys. Thank you, replayers.